So we are here in Whittier and we are about to go through a 2.5-mile tunnel. It is a one-way tunnel, so you have to actually wait at the top of the hour. So it'll go one way and then the other way through traffic the next 30 minutes. So we have to wait at the stoplight and then we will make our way towards Anchorage through this one-way tunnel.
It's really cool. We're going to be going through there at about 10 o'clock, so we're going to be waiting in line for probably about 5 to 10 minutes. And then they're going to let us on through because we're tour buses and we're awesome. And then after that, we're going to stop at the Portage Glacier Visitor Center for about 20 minutes. We'll probably get there about 10:15, so we'll call it 10:35 for when you got to get back. It's looking like a pretty beautiful day, so hopefully you'll get some good pictures because some of the most beautiful pictures are taken there. I'm not going to lie to you. And then after that, we're going to go straight to the Anchorage airport, and after that, straight to the museum. So it's nice and easy, quick ride, nothing too much to talk about, just a quick hour-and-a-half ride. We're going to keep commentary probably to a minimum, but we'll talk if there's some interesting stuff to point out. I know Bill has got some stuff to say at some point, so it's just a nice lax ride, people, not much to say. Have a good ride. If you have any questions, field them through me or the driver, Bill. Thank you.
This tunnel that we're traveling through was built from 1940 to 1941, and when it was completed, it was the longest tunnel in the world. It is 2.5 miles. It's called the Anton Anderson Tunnel. It survived our 1964 earthquake, which was 9.2 on the Richter scale, the second largest earthquake ever recorded.
See the train tracks? See the train tracks? Glacier.
To the left here is Portage Lake, and if you look up into the mountains there, you're looking at ice glaciers. You may have heard of the term blue ice. This is the end of August, and most of the winter snow from the previous winter has melted, and it leaves this ice with this blue tinge to it. Scientists tell us that the snows put a lot of pressure on the ice below, and it pushes out the lower spectrum of color, which is the color blue, which is what you see. That ice is very dense ice. And we're going to swing around, go through a tunnel, and then arrive at a visitor center. Give you a little bit more information about our great state in Alaska, some of the geography that we have here. What's a little bit about it. We'll have 6 more weeks of summer, and then winter will abruptly begin. The top, and you notice it's pretty well bloomed at the top. Here it is, mid-August. I kind of think we're going to have an early winter, just by the way the fireweed has bloomed this year. See these poles here? Anybody have any idea what those poles are for?
Snow plows.
There you go. You must have it in your neck of the woods, huh?
No.
These are guide poles for the snow plows during the winter months when the snow will drift over these areas, and we need some indication as to a tone of 500 here. As to where the road is, so these play a very important role here. This area here can get quite windy during the winter months. We can have some drifting snow.
How much snow does Anchorage get a year?
How much snow does Anchorage get a year? Well, we advertise around 60 to 70 inches.
Wow.
But 2 years previous, we didn't get much more than 20 inches of snow. This last season, we got 81 inches. And about 6 years ago, we got 115 inches. So I guess the weather here is a little bit better than schizophrenic. It's strange. It's hard to predict.
Does the Iditarod go all the way down to Anchorage?
The Iditarod starts in Anchorage. It's simply a ceremonial start. On 4th Avenue, many times we have to truck in snow because we don't get enough snow at that time. And on the first Saturday of March, we will have the mushers and their dog sleds and dogs going down 4th Avenue so that we can get to see who is going to be in the race. The following day is when you really have the start of the race. The designated place is normally Willow, which is about 45 miles outside of Anchorage. So they have to truck the dog sled and the dogs to Willow, and then they start the following morning. Last year was different. I should say this year was different. There was not enough snow in some of the outlying areas of Willow. So the race was started in Fairbanks in March. I was there for that. It was quite cold. Most of the time the start of the race for time is in Willow. But if there is not enough snow in our neck of the woods down here in south central Alaska, then they will actually start the race in Fairbanks. The Iditarod race is in commemoration for the race to Nome back in 1925 to deliver the diphtheria serum to save the people in Fairbanks that were under a siege of diphtheria epidemic. At the time, in 1925, aviation was still in its infancy here, and we did not want to risk having a plane go down carrying the serum. So the governor of Alaska at the time, the territorial governor, he decided the best thing was to have dog sleds deliver it to Nome, but the serum came up on the railroad at first to Fairbanks, and then from Fairbanks the mushers raced the serum to Nome. Years later, in order to commemorate that, a couple of folks got together and created the Iditarod race. There's two routes. There's a north route and a south route, and they alternate every other year. But look for our race to start right around the first weekend of March. The first Saturday of March is the ceremonial. That following day, on Sunday, we actually start the race for time. Right, as we make the turn here, we're going to come right alongside of the Alaska Wildlife Conservation Center. This is where we bring our animals that have been, our land animals that have been damaged in the wild, to come here and be rehabilitated. We had a bear many years ago, got infected with porcupine quills. Hunters found it, brought it here after surgeons had cured it of its infections, and the bear continues to live here. Also, if you look over here to the left, you see bison, or what you would call buffalo. These are wood bison. Let me get through here after the, if we look past this AWCC sign here, you should be able to get a couple of glimpses of wood bison. There you are, there's the buffalo, so just sitting there. Wood bison were native to Alaska. They were in great numbers in the 1800s, and at the beginning of the 20th century, we killed them all off. The bison were declared as extinct, but in the middle of the 1950s, some pilots were flying around a mountain in Canada, and they spotted a very small herd of wood bison. The Canadians went out, retraited the wood bison, and expanded the herd, then gave some of that herd to the Wildlife Conservation Center. They expanded the herd, and in 2015, they put some of that herd back into the wild. They are still expanding some of that herd. More and more will go back out into the wild, but we will have the herd regulated. Notice these two houses here. We'll talk a little bit about this particular area. This is called Portage. We had an earthquake here back in March of 1964. March the 27th, it was Good Friday. The earthquake happened at 5:35 p.m. and it was 9.2 on the Richter scale. The earth shook here for nearly 5 minutes. We have some tour directors for our company that lived through that, and they thought it was the end of the world. It shook so long and so hard. This area that we're traveling on drops some 10 feet, and then a series of tsunami-like waves came roaring through, deposited the water like you see over here to the right. It was salt water. Salt water killed the trees, and then it extracted the sap out of those trees, making those trees rock hard. It's estimated that we would need 10, at least, chainsaw blades to cut through some of those trees. It would dull them that quickly because those the trees are rock hard. So we leave them. We leave them as remnants and reminders of our 1964 earthquake. Now our earthquake was 9.2 on the Richter scale, and that made it the second largest earthquake ever recorded. The largest earthquake ever recorded happened 4 years earlier in 1960 in Chile. That one was 9.5 on the Richter scale. The 9.5 and the 9.2 remain to this day the largest and most damaging earthquakes ever recorded. Right now we're waiting for the beluga whales to come in.
When do they come in?
They should be coming in now. We're kind of late, but they come in chasing the salmon. We've had a couple of runs of salmon. We haven't seen the beluga whales coming in. The body of water that you see here to the left is called the Cook Inlet, named after Captain James Cook, the very first European to come in here and explore this region. He came in here in late May, early June of 1778, and he was looking for that Northwest Passage. And when we go in, that 20,000 pound prize money, he quickly realized he was not going to find the passage, but nonetheless mapped this area and explored it. In Anchorage. Now the Alaska Railroad tracks that you see there connects Seward to Anchorage and Anchorage to Fairbanks. It was built from 1914 to 1923 by the federal government. They fully owned it and maintained it until 1985 when they sold it to the state of Alaska. And the state of Alaska now owns it, maintains it. There's some fishermen out there. We call this combat fishing, where fishermen stand shoulder to shoulder fishing for the salmon. And what often happens is 2 or 3 of you may hook the same fish. What happens after that is, well, 2 of you will say, there's too many fish here, that is yours. We don't do any fighting. There's no combat. It's just a matter of courtesy. But nonetheless,